All right, sportswithrusty.com, our little weekly coaches show we do, and today kind of all we want to be sure and mention Raynell Medical Center is our sponsor, excellent healthcare right at home, and brings us to Heiko this week where Coach Moore and the boys have got some good stuff going here so far, coming off a Coach, I got to say, really impressive win, 55-0 win over Poca. I felt like you guys could win the game. I didn't see 55-0 coming. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I don't think we saw it either, to be honest with you. Poca, it was a pretty close game last year, and they're a big physical team. That's what they hang their hat on. And I think ultimately we just out physicaled them, and then the boys, got a little taste of blood, like a shark, I guess. And
right.
Once that happened, it just kind of steamrolled.
I got to assume, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, I got to feel like that makes you pretty pleased, the physical part, because I think maybe in the past couple of years that maybe not been the thing that that's a trademark of trail football. Kind of hadn't been there a little bit.
Yeah, we've missed that, and I think that's been the deciding factor. I think we've always had talent. It's just a matter of having 11 guys, putting it together and being physical. So,
tell me about those guys up front, because when you start looking at the numbers here, you got 650 yards rushing in 2 games. It all comes up front, and I know that's got to make you happy.
Oh yeah, it's the most I've smiled in 4 years since I've been here. The guys up front, they're getting great push. I think that was the first game Friday night where we reestablished the line of scrimmage. We've always done a good job of position blocking, hat on hat. I'm real big on no missed assignments and stuff like that. But this is the first time that I've noticed in a while that we've just displaced the line of scrimmage. It makes our backs' jobs that much easier. Roop and Weiss and Max White, those guys that can cut and see it, and they're seeing the holes really well this year. I don't know, Coach Russell's done a good job with those guys, getting them ready. They've done a great job of finding the hole.
I know we talked about it early in the year, but let's run through those guys again for everybody, to kind of tell them who's doing that push up front for you.
Greg Kramer at left tackle. He's been a stalwart. Honorable mention All-State last year. Left guard, we got Javen Willis. Him and Nick Workman at center, Caden Rose at guard, and Cordell Brown at tackle. And then they're just road graders, man. They're they're not physically imposing, but those guys just get after it.
Right.
Greg's probably the tallest one of the bunch, but those guys just get after it. And it was fun to watch.
You kind of talked a little bit about the off-season work. You think that's just a tribute to what they did in the off-season?
That, and I think when you become a senior, it becomes a little more prevalent. And then once the guys actually felt the difference and saw the difference, I think it's easier to buy into it when you see it work like that.
A lot of work from your backs. You kind of look at Jaden Roop's big game this week. He had over 200 yards rushing. You had Weiss with over 134, 144, something like that last week. A couple touchdowns. You got 10 touchdowns on the ground. I mean, that's, I know the old adage, that when you throw the ball, 3 things happen and 2 are bad. Yeah. I know you like to run it, and being able to put 10 scores in 2 weeks on there is pretty tough.
Our quarterbacks and receivers aren't very happy at this moment, but they'll be okay. I hope they'll get over it. But no, it's been balanced, and that's kind of the thing is, we've still thrown the ball, I think, 12 and 14 times.
Right, exactly.
It's not like we're not throwing the ball. It's just, we're trying to do a better job of getting the ball in those receivers' hands without actually having to chuck it to them, because our line's doing such a good job. And I think teams are going to have to honor one or the other.
Right.
But it's a good feeling to be able to move the ball at will.
Do you think the result of that game Tuesday or Friday night was just the fact that you did kind of punch them in the mouth and they just didn't respond, and you guys just felt like what you were saying earlier, sharks to blood?
Well, and I'll say this too: our defense has been locked down as well. So,
right.
I think the guys know that we can score, and the defense is going to do their part. 14 points, 13 points in 2 games, something like that.
Right.
I think they only had 3 first downs or something like that, and one was
right.
penalty or something like that. So, it's complimentary football. But you're right. It is nice to be able to move the ball like that. And it's not just one guy. It's been handful of guys toting the rock.
Yeah, let's kind of jump on that defense a little bit because they have been impressive, no doubt. I mean, like you said, they only had 3 first downs. One of them was a penalty, and the yardage I got was they had negative 34 yards total offense. And I've seen a lot of football over the years, and that number don't pop up very often. That's pretty impressive.
I think our D line is really good, and I think they're underrated. We got some guys we roll in there at D tackle, but our 2 DNs, Gage Johnson and Xander Uten, I think Uten has 5.5 sacks.
Exactly, yeah.
Something like that through 2 games.
Yep.
And Gage, he's just, he's probably the best lineman I have as far as like pure overall lineman. But
right.
he can play D tackle, he can play DN. Uten's kind of the speed guy. And then our linebackers, Weiss has done a great job. And then, might as well just give everybody credit, but the DBs have done a great job too.
Right, yeah, they got 6 INTs for you.
Yeah. If that ball is in the air, we have more than a 50-50 shot of picking it off. And those guys on the back end, we've allowed no real big plays, kept everything in front of us, make them march it down the field, and that's a good recipe for winning.
This week we got Braxton coming here, and I guess it's one of them things now where kids are starting to hear how good they're doing, how well they are doing, and are you concerned about a letdown or anything like that? Because Braxton's a pretty good little team.
Yeah, they are a good team. They gave South Harrison all they wanted, and then they beat up on Gilmer last week. They're a good team. They're well coached. They're young. They're one of those teams I'm glad we get them at the beginning of the year more so than the end of the year.
Right.
Once they start to gel.
Exactly.
When those young guys start becoming veterans. But, they're going to be welcome. They're not going to beat themselves. It was like last year. I think we got up on them early, and then they shut us out in the second half. So, it's not like we're just going to show up and beat them.
Right.
You always worry about complacency, but I think we're a senior league led group. I think these guys have something to prove and want to show people that it's not the same old Midland Trail everybody's thinks we are.
Right. Yeah, and I guess that's the thing is you've kind of beat that stigma a little bit here in the last couple weeks. Because like last year, I thought you had a really good team last year. It just seemed to be inconsistent. One week you kind of scratch your head with the result, and then the next week you would just mow over people.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we're at. Those guys, the seniors were juniors last year, and those guys, I think they now realize, okay, this is what we should have been doing.
Right.
From here on out. So I'm hoping complacency's not ever going to be the thing with them, but I think they've got it pretty well figured out. We'll find out this week.
Right. I was going to say, your schedule kind of kicks into high gear now. You really got some good teams rolling up. I know you have to take it week to week, but you got some good teams coming.
Yeah. I'm not going to single anybody out, but there are some guys on the schedule that that we haven't beaten in a while. So it's just good, bad, or indifferent. We still have to beat those guys, and Braxton County. It starts with Braxton County. None of it means anything.
Right.
The great start doesn't mean anything unless we bring it Friday.
Take care of business. Yeah. All right, Jeremy Moore, Midland Trail Football.